Welcome to the AGAME podcast, where I help you bring your best to be your best in all areas of life. Today's topic is maintaining the human connection in a world that is every second promoting more time with you and your screen instead of you with another human being. Today we'll explore 7 seemingly simple acts that can keep you deeply connected, engaged, and adding real value to your world, while countering the left brain shift that screens trigger, pulling us away from the holistic right brain magic of face-to-face bonds. Don't worry if that sounds confusing. I'm going to dig deep into that. There's an epidemic of isolation and loneliness happening today. Here's what their research shows. A 2025 American Psychological Association poll revealed that 54% of U.S. adults feel isolated, often or some of the time, while 50% report lacking companionship. Globally, around 16% of all people, that's 1 in 6, experience loneliness, with rates as highest among adolescents and young adults, per the World Health Organization. And here are what the negative effects that we see in research around isolation is. Number 1, it increases the risk of premature death by 26%, with effects comparable to smoking up to 15 cigarettes a day due to the heightened stress and weakened immune function. Loneliness is linked to 29% higher risk of heart disease and a 32% increase of chance of stroke as it continues to elevate blood pressure and inflammation. Next, it significantly raises the likelihood of mental health issues like depression, anxiety, and often leading to the cognitive decline and conditions such as dementia over time. This next one is very interesting. It was a daily diary study of young adults found that the quality of face-to-face interactions from the previous day positively predicted self-esteem the next day, while digital interactions, like text messaging, showed no such lagged effect, suggesting in-person experiences provide more enduring benefits for psychological well-being. And here's the real thing. Positive memory making. When I wrote my book, The Time Cleanse, what I defined time for is, for one thing, to make memories that matter. And we're going to dig into how to actually do that. So what are the 7 simple acts? They're very simple. And you might even laugh when you hear this. And as we go through today's podcast, you're going to see how these very simple acts can totally change your engagement. Here they are. Hello, goodbye, thank you, you're welcome. Eye contact, a smile, and being present. These are the lost art of communication. So I personally got to experience what isolation was in a very surprising way. So about 25 years ago, I switched careers, and I went from owning and operating a gym facility where I was seeing hundreds of people a day to more of what I'm doing now, one-on-one coaching, corporate coaching, but day-to-day one-on-one coaching. So I went from a facility where I was seeing hundreds of people, it was my social network, it was where I worked out, to being isolated, in a single-person office and living in a different area of California. And at first, there was the excitement of a new career. And then I started realizing almost the sense of depression and loneliness. And I realized over time, I'm just not around people, and how much that impacted me. And it just crept up on me. And by the way, this is way before, all the time in screens. And so I made a decision to just get out more, to start engaging more people. And that dark cloud completely lifted off of me. And it was as simple as engaging people at the coffee shop, saying hello to people in the grocery store. It brought me back into the human experience. And so these 7 simple acts that we're talking about are all going to help you engage and to be present. And so as we go through, I want you to just think about, how much do you do this? How much do you engage with these simple words? But it's not just words. They're methods to stay connected. They're methods to stay connected. So you might be asking, what is a left brain shift? It's something that I talked about in the intro. And it's actually not really well known in the general population, so I want to explain this to you. When you're in your computer, your iPhone, the act of going into those devices shifts your brain from the embodied relational right side into the digital, logical, self-reflecting left side. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, what's the big deal about that? Well, the big deal about that is once we go into a screen, we no longer have the social network going where we're having empathy or signs for compassion. We don't have IQs, voice tone, body language. So we're reading text and we're self-reflecting. So when we're doing that, we have no outside input. We have no social networking being fired up. And what we're seeing in the research is most of our day now is that way in the left side of the brain. So we want to do things that are going to get us in the right side of the brain, the relational side, the emotional side, where we can read cues, where we can have empathy, where we can predict behavior, because that's where we're going to have greater connection and meaning and engagement. Let's jump into each one of these and see how we can use it in our life. So number one, saying hello. For me, growing up in a different time without social media, it's very interesting to me because every business I would go into or my day-to-day interaction, I would say hello or someone would say hello to me. But I can't tell you how many places and how many businesses I go into where no one says hello. You just walk in. And hello is that first part of us engaging that social network. And it also opens up other conversations, other relationships. And as we said in that intro, is that this is what keeps those social networks alive, feels us more engaged, where we can be in service. And by the way, doing this is not just for me or just for you, it's for other people. We don't want to lower ourselves to the energy around us. We want to raise everyone to a higher standard. And this brings just more of that common humanity back. So number one, practicing just saying hello to people. And when I do consulting for businesses, the first thing I do, I say, let's look at your staff. Do they say hello, goodbye, you're welcome, thank you, eye contact, a smile? Are they present? And that's going to tell you a lot about a business right there. So that's number one. Number two, saying goodbye. Now, that's another thing that people go, what's the big deal? Well, it honors whatever interaction you had. It honors the people that you were just with, and it completes that interaction. Last night, I got a burger at one of my favorite places. And as I left with my guests, I said goodbye. And you could just feel that positive energy that's acknowledging that I was there. It was acknowledging that they're there to give me good service. But it brings, once again, a deeper connection. It's saying, I see you. All of these are acknowledging there's another human being there. I mean, how many places have you gone where you leave, they're down on their phone, or you come in and they're down on their phone? It just doesn't promote that beautiful common humanity and experience, right? So that's number two. So practice saying goodbye. Let's go on to the next one, number three. This is one of my favorites. Saying thank you. I mean, I have to say that these are just like basic manners, and I'm not blaming anyone. I'm not criticizing anyone. We've just gotten lazy. And saying thank you, once again, acknowledges somebody for their beingness. We all want to be seen. And so just taking the time, these are very simple things that you can do day to day, and it wires that social network, creates connection. It's bringing, kindness and compassion and connection to others as well. So saying thank you is a powerful tool just to stay connected. Now, let me tell you a quick story of two different businesses. And this is like very, very memorable differences in the last couple months. So business number one, the gym I go to. Beautiful gym, amazing equipment. And then let's talk about the morning staff. You walk into the gym. There is a front counter. Surprisingly, no one's at the front counter. They're all sitting over there in the sales area. Cleaning, talking to customers. Oh, no. On their phones, looking at Instagram. So you walk in, you check in electronically. So once again, no, hello, thank you, goodbye. And if you want anything, you got to go, hello, hello. Now, when you do that, they get startled. They're like, what do you need? I mean, think about that. You have a business, and the people greeting you are face down in their phone. Now, I'm not saying they're bad people. I'm just saying they're not connected. They're not present. They're not welcoming. And now, it's not everybody, but it's pretty much that morning staff. And so here we got a business, and when you leave, are they saying goodbye? Have a good day. Hey, did you have a great workout? No. They're busy over there still on Instagram. Now, it's not everyone on that staff, but it's the majority. They're AM staff. That's what it is. We have a tremendous opportunity to make a difference in people's lives. And by the way, that's their job. And for whatever reason in that management, that's what they're doing. Now, I leave there not feeling welcome. It's a great gym, but the customer service and the connection to their members is about a 1 on 10. Now, let's flip the script. Went on a trip to Asia and flew on Emirates, and let me tell you, it was like the dark sky parted, and it was hummingbirds and sunshine in the first engagement. You walk up to the counter, eye contact, a smile, real conversation. You get on the plane. It's, what can we do for you? It's a check-in. It's a smile. It's eye contact. It's not, here's your coffee, and then go run in the galley and then put my head down on my phone, which you probably have experienced if you've traveled at all. They were thinking about 1, 2, and 3 steps ahead of how they could be of service. At one point, they had a little interaction with one of the customers that was unhappy, and I just acknowledged the flight attendant of what a fantastic job she did to try to help it. And then later, the supervisor came over to thank me for acknowledging his employee for doing a good job. That's deep connection. I felt good about acknowledging somebody, and they felt good about being acknowledged. We go through life, and I've said a quote many times, we always do it ourselves, but we never do it alone. There's this movement to be isolated, but there's going to be a point where you're going to need somebody, and they're going to need you. But can you ask for help? Are you open to help? Or you just got your head down in your screen and just saying, I don't want to engage? Because ultimately, these little acts increase our memory making. You're not going to make great memories on Instagram, but you will make a great memory meeting a new person, being totally present with your friends or family. And that's what it's all about. So let's move on to number 5, eye contact. So here's another one of the simple acts, is actually looking people in the eye. I went to get some dog food for my little man, Mana, and I walked in, and a gentleman was on the phone taking an order, standing there for a couple minutes, and as soon as he hung the phone up, head down, and he says, what's your phone number? And I simply just said, can we start with hello? He looked at me like I was from Mars. I'm the customer. I'm spending a couple $100 a month in this place. And I just said it would just be nice if he just took a second and just greeted me instead of just rushing into, I wasn't even acknowledged. It was just like, give me your money and get out of here. Now, not trained well, but that's not a good way to engage people. And so that eye contact is acknowledging, I see you. And I'm in a service industry. I want to help you. And so as we go into the world, making that kind eye contact is another way to engage that social network for ourselves and others. Next, smile. This is one I got to really work on, because my natural face without smiling is not welcoming. There's a phrase of resting blank, blank, blank face. You can figure that out for those who know what that is. I have that. And so on one of my trips to Japan, I really saw the impact of non-smiling. So I was on the train in Japan, and being a foreigner there, the Japanese people in general aren't going to stare at you, and what your energy, puts out there is how they're going to reflect. And I just noticed as I was on the train, I just had my resting face, and people didn't look very comfortable around me. And then one day I was like, I got to start smiling. And I watched a whole the car on the train completely change. I looked up. There was somebody across from me sort of looking at me. I smiled. I engaged. And I watched my smile, in fact, her to a smile, and all the people around started lightening up just by a smile. It draws people in. It makes you approachable. It fosters, the thinking and feeling of more kindness. And that also creates engagement, new friendships. Smile, super important. And lastly, let's not forget about being present. This is the foundation of all that. Are you where you're at? Listen, do we have to be present and focused, like we're on SEAL Team 6 for every moment in time? No. And, I tell all my clients and the people I work with, if you're moving, if your body's moving, don't be looking at your phone. If your car's moving and you're driving, don't be looking at your phone. Be where your feet are. We've got so much research on increased happiness, resilience, connection, memory making by being present. So practice that. We've got many episodes on mindfulness and connection with that, doing some breath or some meditation, just practicing settling the brain down to being present. Well, it's time for our Q&A game with their illustrious producer extraordinary, Mike Smith.
Good to be here, Stephen.
Let's bring it on.
Let me ask you a question here. When you talk about the human connection, what are we referring to? What is that all about?
Well, communication is an exchange of energy and information.
Uh-huh.
And so when we're talking about connection, and it can be in many different ways. Obviously, we have texting, we've got emailing, we've got face-to-face, we've got Zoom. But ultimately, connection happens at its highest level when we have voice tone, body language. We can see the person, right? Our right side of our brain, the embodied, emotionally connected side of the brain connects. And when we go to the digital, a lot of that stuff's gone. So in a world today where so many people are face down in their phones, and you go to any parking lot in the U.S., you'll see people just walking around. You go to an airport, it's dangerous. Accidents are up. It's an epidemic. And so, when we have that human connection, exchange of energy, information, when we go to our screens, voice tone and body language, and that person is gone.
Uh-huh. How and when did we lose human connection? Is it in our lifetime? When did this happen?
I think the real decline started with, the cell phone. It started there. But then when we got the face-forward phone, and where pretty much any new business, any new service is going to try to integrate it into that phone, right? And so when we went from more and more time in the phone, I'm going to use the phone as the example, but it's all technology, and less time from face-to-face, areas of the brain are being atrophied for adults, and then for children, they're not being developed. And that's why we have more anxiety, stress, suicide. All these things with kids, especially, are at the highest level. Why? Because we haven't learned to have natural conflict and resolution. We haven't learned to look at a face and go, oh, that looks sad, that looks frustrated, that looks happy. And so what's happening, all these levels of depression, anxiety, stress are rising because we haven't learned to self-regulate.
That kind of segues into why are so many people lacking manners today? Is it the same lack of connection?
Yeah, it's so every generation is different, right? But if you grew up on a phone and you were never really educated by your parents or the environment, then if you walked into a place and someone was standing at a counter, that you would actually say hello and look at them. Most people are walking into a store face down on their phone. And that includes the person on the other side of the register half the time is face down on their phone. Uh-huh. So even if they know what to do, there's a delay. They got to go from left brain to right brain, and that doesn't happen automatically.
Tell me the significance of that left brain, right brain transfer or shift. Why is that important?
Yeah, so with technology, and this is what's not being talked about, it's a physiological effect in your body. When we're face-to-face, we have the left and right brain hemispheres. We're embodied because we're reading cues and things called mirror neurons, where we are able to look at another human being and say, are they sad? Are they happy? We can predict behavior. Now, when we move into our screen, we're no longer getting the outside input. So now we're self-reflecting our own condition. There's no body language, there's no voice tone. So when we read the words, we make up the meaning, and we make up that meaning based on our current psychological condition. Am I happy? Am I sad? Am I tired?
Not what the other person intended.
No, we have. So if I say something to you and you misunderstand it, I can go, oh, it looks like he misunderstood. Or you could just say in real time, I don't understand that. So now I'm going to self-correct. But if I'm in a text and it's 11 o'clock at night and I've had a horrible day and I pick up this message and I emphasize a different word, the whole meaning's different. And so if you do that all day long, now you want to have an engagement with somebody you know or you don't know, that area of the brain is atrophied. It's not even fired up. I don't know about you, but have you ever gone to the gym and somebody's texting on a machine? Well, that's just, that's so common. You just...
All the time.
And then you go up to them and you say, excuse me, what do you see most of the time as the first reaction?
Yeah, it's they're stunned to be talked to.
Right. So that is the left brain trying to get back into the right brain and having some kind of language.
Yeah.
Half of those encounters result in no words, a grunt, a sound.
Yeah.
Because it's a brain issue. It's a brain issue. And so I've now had a little more patience on just saying, excuse me, and then like counting to 3 in my head, just not to react to somebody going, or like a mean look, because they're literally a bit in that fight, flight, freeze right there.
Yeah.
That's what's happening. And so the more someone isolates in the phone, the more they want to stay there because it's like use it or lose it. If you're not used to saying hi to a stranger, this is an epidemic with young people and dating. I've got a client right now where his assignment is daily talking to people, asking them questions. If it's Starbucks or a grocery store, I said, your job is to engage that person, people you don't know, to get that area of your brain working.
Isn't that interesting? Because I do work with people on the autism spectrum, it's difficult for that individual to immediately engage when they are being looked at, not just on a screen.
Right, because that area of the brain, and it's the same thing, a little bit of an example would be the same thing if you look at some young people's handwriting. Now, I don't have great handwriting to begin with, and I've seen it deteriorate over the years. Why? Because I'm not writing. You don't use it. So if you're typing all the time and then you have to write and then you have to think and there's no spell check. So these are the many facets. Here's the great thing. All of this can be corrected. Mm-hmm. You do the 7 simple acts for a week, I guarantee you the feeling about yourself, the feeling about connection will be completely different. Now, the one caveat to that, just because you say hello to somebody doesn't mean they're going to say hello back. I'm past expecting somebody because it's like, this is what happens. Oh my God, another human said something to me. And here's the funny phenomena. It's not documented other than that some people think they actually moved their lips to say a word and nothing came out. So like you say hello and they think they said hello, either by a head nod or something, but did words come out? I'm not kidding you.
Wow. So they heard it in their own brain or they...
Right, but they're like, they felt like maybe they said something.
Yeah.
I've been on many flights. I sit down and say hello to somebody and they just stare at me. I'm like, okay, I'm going to keep doing me, right?
Yeah.
But there is that phenomena where they actually feel like they just said something and nothing came out.
So with that lack of positive response, does that further discourage the individual who is having trouble with communicating and connecting?
Yeah. So part of it is you got to ignore what's going to happen. Like if someone doesn't respond, someone doesn't, you just got to keep doing it because people desperately want to connect. Then you're going to find somebody that's going to be, thank you so much for saying hello to me. I was at a local grocery store where there's some elderly people that shop there, and I was in line, and I just noticed there was some elderly, like a higher population of elderly in this particular store. And so I was in line, short line, and I just, looked back, and there was a woman, probably 80s or 90s, and I just said, "How's your day going?" She's like, "It's not going well." So I said, "Oh, what, what's going on?" And she's like, "Oh, my body, and I'm sorry to hear that. Hope you feel better." So before I check out, she goes, "Your kindness won't be forgotten."
Oh.
And Mike, so I want to be of service, but man, she was a service back to me. I was like, oh, I make a difference. I had an impact on somebody that I didn't know just by saying hello. So I frequently go there because there's always going to be an opportunity for me to help an older person get their groceries. I've done that. And, it started actually me helping an older woman with her groceries because she was really struggling. And I was just seeing people just walk by her. I mean, like struggling. I don't even know how she was driving, but that's another story. Helped her, could I help you? I have, a great grandson that's named Steven. I'm going to tell him that I met you. Mm-hmm. I mean, we're all in this together. We're all going to get older.
Yeah.
And it's not just for old people. It's just, as I said in the episode, the statistics on loneliness and its derogatory health, impact is gigantic. Mm-hmm. And that's even for the young people.
Mm-hmm. So your outreach then in that particular instance was one of compassion and so forth, the desire for human connection. But it came back to you. If anything, maybe your advice is you're doing it, but you're doing it for others, yes, but you're doing it for you.
Oh, 100%. 100%. I felt great helping her. Also, though, I've just got a commitment to myself is I'm going to stay connected. Mm. And that's for not just people that look like me or sound like me, all people, like to engage all people. That's the other part of it. Don't just engage people like you. Uh-huh. Engage people that aren't like you or that look different or talk different or have a different age. I mean, just engage. And, ultimately, on this last travel trip, that's what I did. And I had some really profound, great memories of connection, opportunities, go here, try this. That's because I reached out and started the conversation. Most people, in general, want to communicate. It's not going to happen always. Maybe you catch somebody at a bad day or they don't want to talk. But in general, people are dying to connect.
Cool. How do we get over that fear? That fear of engaging?
How do you get over the fear? You just do it.
So it's behavioral. It's behavior
right.
modification.
You got to just start. So my one client that I'm having talk to, just the barista, the checkout gal, he's a younger guy that wants to have more opportunities dating. And I said, man, you got to start practicing talking. Don't wait till the dream girl of your life shows up and you haven't talked to a stranger in 4 months. Forget it. You'll be frozen. So it's common humanity for all. But for him, I was like giving him some benefits of, and he's been doing that, and just generally has been feeling more connected to people.
Great. Well, that sounds like one of the recommendations you can give. But what recommendations do you have to be more socially involved in general?
Yeah, to be more socially involved in general, it's really simple. Put your phone away, because now you're going to see the opportunity of what's in front of you. You can make eye contact. You can get engaged. So periods of time, just put your phone away. 10 minutes, 5 minutes. Just see what's around you. Engage a stranger. Offer some help. People are, just in your day, if you look around, people need help. A door opened. Something picked up. A grocery. People are always in a place of needing assistance.
Sure.
So make that effort. Mm-hmm. And, when in doubt, just do it anyhow. Mm-hmm. It's going to be uncomfortable to begin with. You'll get over it.
You just have to practice it, is what you're saying, and
100%.
Do it anyway, even if it is uncomfortable.
Because it will be.
It's going to be, right?
It's going to be. Yeah. But what's more uncomfortable is this: being in your house with no friends or talking to everyone on text or on Instagram, whatever it is, and dying slowly when you're 20.
Yeah. And we see it with older people too, don't we?
Of course.
We see it with seniors who, when isolated, as you said earlier, decline.
Oh, so fast.
Physically and mentally.
Yeah.
It's amazing. What can parents do to support greater social engagement for their kids?
Yeah, the thing that parents can do to create that greater social engagement, especially early on, and is have their kids engage. What do I mean by that? You go to a restaurant, you have them order the food. You're with them. You need directions. You're at the gas station. I know this is, no one gets directions to the gas station anymore, but you have your son or daughter engage. You have them engage. You have them practicing. Part of that is time with no social media, no phone. You put the phone away. And you also become an exemplar. Don't be the person that's on your phone while you're talking to the person at the grocery store, and then you want your kid to engage. Uh-huh. I had a story real quickly when I spoke to a big parents group for student athletes, and I had a mom come up to me afterwards, and she said, 13-year-old, my son doesn't really talk. I said, okay. And they said, you order pizza ever? She's like, yeah, we order pizza all the time. I go, does your son ever order pizza? She's like, no. I go, have him start ordering pizza. Then she says, well, I'm afraid if I have him do it, he's going to go hungry. I go, Mom, if the only way he's getting pizza is he picks the phone up, no, not online, pick the phone up, old school, corner pizza place. I want pepperoni, extra cheese, hang the phone up.
Right.
But she looked at me like I was from Mars, like, that's how you do it, one little thing at a time. I'm not going to do a coaching seminar on how to talk to your coach. I'll do that, but we got to just get it going.
I'll tell you something that happened last night. I was with my son at home, and it was nighttime, and the doorbell rang. And he looked at me as if, what do I do? He knows what to do. When the doorbell rings, you go and you answer it. But he was so reluctant to engage whoever was out there. I just insisted that he do it anyway.
Right.
Go to that door, open it, and greet whoever it is that's there.
Yeah.
So we did.
Yeah.
And that's a behavioral thing. That's not something that comes naturally to our kids these days.
Well, think about this. I don't know. Well, you can tell me. How many people knock on your door or ring your doorbell?
It doesn't happen often.
Right. So this is the other thing. So we're not even used to going to our neighbor, knocking on their door.
When I was a kid, it was every 10 minutes there was somebody at the door.
There would be no question. Yeah. A phone ringing, a door knock. Now it's like, and I've been that way because no one ever does it. So someone rings my doorbell, I'm like, I'm in a secure building, but I'm like, why is somebody at my door?
Sure.
Right? And once again, just practice.
So do you see the cell phone as the biggest impediment to human connection today?
It is, and I don't want to blame the cell phone. I don't want to. It is if we're just not intentional with it. Man, the phone is a game changer for humanity in a positive way.
Yeah. If
you use it that way. Mm-hmm. But it's like anything. If you're at dinner, if you're with your friends, put it away. It's just an epidemic now. I see couples at dinner, they're both on their phone. And traveling alone by myself, I've saw hundreds of couples just like sitting across from a table. They're on vacation in a new place. They're like this.
At a restaurant, on a plane.
Yeah.
A couple at a restaurant in particular.
And it's not don't use it at all. It's like, okay. And then the last thing to this is be willing to be bored. It is one of the best things we can do for all of us because bored resets these dopamine centers. Because when we're bored and we go to Instagram and scroll, it fatigues us, it activates our sympathetic nervous system, does not relax us. There's no relaxation. So allowing boredom resets the stimulus areas. So we don't need as much stimulus. It actually resets. It's like being on caffeine. If you get off caffeine 2 or 3 days, resets the receptors. So being willing to be bored, which also allows the opportunity for creativity and new thinking.
Yeah.
Without that, it's the always way of being. We're not thinking about anything new. And we're hypnotized into what, the society wants us to do, to buy, to think, to do, to behave.
So we talked about young athletes and young people in particular, but I think this is across the board. Why are people so stressed, and why is it getting worse these days?
Yeah, why are people so stressed today, and why is it getting worse? It goes back to the nervous system. So we've got the sympathetic and the parasympathetic. When we're on our phone, if it's communicating, if it's this endless scrolling, we're not letting our nervous system rest. So places where we might have naturally rested 20 years ago, go for a walk. I'm going to get a coffee. I'm going to be with myself. I'm going to be with my thoughts. It's not there. Mm-hmm. So the brakes are gone, and the brakes for most people are replaced with, I'm going to do something with my phone. So if you're doing like the interval stuff that I talk about for productivity, so 55 minutes and then 7 minutes rest. The 7-minute rest isn't scroll for 7 minutes on Instagram. That's no rest. It's actually keeping your nervous system stimulated. So those places where we just relax, we were just with our own thoughts, we did something in nature, we took a walk, they're not there anymore. So it's day in, day out, day in, and it's just the wheel is spinning faster. It's being ground down, steam's coming out of it, and it's breaking.
What are the dangers of the overuse or use at all of social media?
Well, the dangers of social media is simple. First of all, don't think for yourself. Don't be in your own life. Be in someone else's life. Comparison, low self-esteem, depression, anxiety. All the research is there. I mean, I knew that 20 years ago when I was researching it. Now they have research on it. Past a certain amount of time, whatever that is, 5 or 10 minutes, every minute past that is like an exponential negative emotional impact.
Just that few minutes, just 5 or 10 minutes.
But
Because there are some people on social media for hours on end.
Yeah, well, if you look at their nervous system and we look at their life, I guarantee you it's impacting them. So it's just, I'm never a person that says, forbid it. I'm not going to say forbid it. Balance it. Just balance it.
What do you think about legislation that's asking for it to be banned or heavily regulated for anybody under 16 years of age?
I think it's a very simple philosophy. If you forbid it, it doesn't work.
Yeah.
Ban it, it doesn't work. Prohibition. Did that stop alcohol? Yeah. I mean, so I think there's recommendations. I think you educate people. I don't think you ban it.
All right.
It's just, okay, so after you turn 16, you've been waiting for 3 years to use it. Now you don't use it. You just become addicted. You waited so long to have that first drink. And now all you're doing is drinking.
Right.
So I think education, I think some regulation about like in the classroom, but when you're banning something.
And some parental oversight, I think is necessary as well. A couple of, just 2 more questions. What's the most important thing to keep in mind when we first meet somebody, when we first walk into a situation, when we first engage somebody? What is it I need to have in my mind to overcome any of these anxieties I might have?
I think that understanding that you're dealing with another human being that has some of the same feelings and anxieties you have. For some of us, we think the other people are different. And to just be present and to let your natural curiosity engage with them. Right? We're not used to asking people questions. I used to, ask people questions. Sometimes you've been with me, I'm asking somebody, a waitress, a waiter, and that's keeping me sharp. But it's also engaging them. I want a good experience.
Yeah.
I don't just want to be cheeseburger, fries, don't talk. I mean, that's not helpful for me.
Right. Yeah. All right, final question, and this is one of my famous open-ended ones. Whatever occurs to you is the correct answer. Human connection is?
Human connection is the ability to be present with another human being and allow the transfer of energy and information to come back to each other and be there with curiosity and allow it to happen.
And that's important because?
That's how we know that we're all from the same tribe. Common humanity. It's how we have shared experiences. What do you do when something great happens? You find somebody to tell them.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that. You don't stay in your own little room going, "Oh my God, this is amazing. Let me tell myself." You're getting on the megaphone. Eye contact, smile, and being present. So where do you go from here? Well, if this has moved you or motivated you or you found interest in it, let's just start practicing these, one a day. Practicing saying hello, goodbye. See if you can do all of them in one day and just start seeing how you are more engaged, how the people around you are interacting. And if you own a business, please take this and show it to your employees. Have that part of your culture. It's so easy to be great today. Just doing these things personally or in your business will put you a notch above most businesses today. So let's get out there, let's practice it. And remember, it's not just for you. It's for everyone, connecting back into that community that we all need. We all need. And remember, always bring your A game.